Hi guys, welcome back to Tasty Little Dumpling. Today I am making Hungarian style stuffed peppers. This is one of my brother's favorite recipe and he was kind enough to share it with me. You're probably wondering, what is an Asian cooking Hungarian food for? Well, I did grow up in Europe. That's where I lived for over 16 years, and this is also my kind of comfort food. And since I cannot get good Hungarian food anywhere here in the States, I have to cook it myself. Two must ingredients in Hungarian style stuffed peppers is paprika powder, very important, and also tomato paste. Now the tomato paste you could substitute with tomato sauce. Is much more readily available here in the US, but then you have to reduce the liquid amount in your recipe a little bit. Okay, but before we start the cooking, first thing we are going to do is harvest some of my fresh homegrown bell peppers and jalapenos from my garden. Look at these beauties. This is my first harvest of bell peppers for the year. I am super excited. They are so gorgeous, almost too pretty to eat, but just almost. And these are my jalapenos, and this is probably my 5th harvest of jalapenos for the year. They have done so well this year. I am so happy about it. Fresh and healthy. I can't wait to cook with them and eat them. Yummy. Let me introduce you to the ingredients we'll be using today. Here are our fresh harvested bell peppers and jalapenos, of course. I have some gorgeous looking organic grass-fed ground beef here that I got from Costco. This is cooked rice. In my kitchen I always have cooked rice somewhere. We have minced garlic, coarse salt. I am using pink Himalayan salt today. Sea salt would work great as well. Sugar and black pepper. We have 1 egg, our paprika powder of course, and 1 onion. For the sauce, we'll be using about 2.25 cups of water, and I'll add mushroom seasoning to it. I love using mushroom seasoning in dishes with beef. The flavors complement each other so much. If you don't have mushroom seasoning, beef or vegetable broth would be fantastic as well. Here we have some flour as a sauce thickener, butter, and 1 small can of tomato paste. First, we are going to chop our onion into small cubes. The onion is an important ingredient as it not only adds a nice sweet taste to the dish, but it also loosens up the meat in a sense and makes it less dense. And it also adds moisture to the meat during the cooking process. Let's mix the meat. I added the chopped onions to the ground beef already. And here we have 1 cup of cooked rice. Just like fried rice, 1-day-old rice, since it's a little drier, is actually better for this dish than fresh cooked rice. 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of paprika powder. Hungarian stuffed peppers is not the same without the paprika powder, so don't skip this ingredient. Let's add 1 egg to our mixture. For seasoning, I add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of coarse salt. If you are using regular table salt, make sure to reduce the amount, otherwise it will be too salty. Last but not least, I have 1 teaspoon of black pepper for a little bit of heat. Now mix all of the ingredients thoroughly. I find it easier to do so by hand. Once all combined, let the meat mixture marinate for about 30 minutes. Give the meat some time to absorb all of the nice flavors that we just added to it. Now while the meat is marinating, let's prep our peppers. For the bell peppers, cut off the top, take out the core and the seeds. Don't throw away the top parts of the bell pepper. You can chop those up and add them to your sauce later. For the jalapenos, I cut them in half lengthwise and de-seed them. Now if you like some heat in your food, feel free to keep the seeds in. Don't my homegrown bell peppers and jalapenos look so amazingly beautiful? I am so proud of them, as you can see. Now it's time to stuff our peppers with the meat mixture. I like to squeeze the meat in my hand just a little bit before putting it inside the peppers. You don't want to squeeze this too much, as the rice will expand a little during cooking when it absorbs all of the beautiful sauce. Whatever leftover meat you may have, form it into bite-sized meat balls. The one part of my cooking process that is not so traditional is the searing of the meat before making the sauce. In my humble opinion, searing the meat briefly adds a nice crust and amazing flavor profile that I really love. You are welcome to skip this step, of course, but if you have time, go for it. I think it adds a lot of taste. Sear the stuffed peppers with the meat side down and give the meatballs a quick sear as well. Once done, set aside. Now we're going to use the same pot to make the sauce. All of the yummy goodness that you got from the searing will add more flavor to your final dish. To get started with the sauce, let's add our butter to the pot. And let's go ahead and give it some time to melt. Scrape off any of the yummy goodness that stick to the bottom of the pot. Once melted, add the flour and cook it down. The butter and the flour combination is basically going to thicken your sauce. Not to mention that butter will also add super yumminess to your dish. Now let's add the mushroom seasoning to our water. Give it a nice whisk and add it to the pot. Next comes our tomato paste. If you do not have tomato paste on hand, you can substitute with tomato sauce. But remember that you have to reduce the amount of liquid if you are using tomato sauce instead of the tomato paste. I am going to season my sauce with sugar, salt, and black pepper. At this point, I will add the bell peppers that I saved from cutting off the top of the bell peppers. Let's bring this all to a light boil. Now we can add our stuffed peppers and the meatballs. Lower the heat to low. Put the lid on your pot and let it simmer for about 30 to 40 minutes. Scoop some of the sauce over the stuffed peppers and the meatballs from time to time, just to make sure that every single bite is going to have that wonderful sauce. This looks so good. The peppers are soft and tender. The sauce, as you can see, is rich and dark and super flavorful. Now this dish is traditionally served with boiled potatoes, or steamed rice. You can guess for yourself what my preference is. Hint, again, I'm Asian, so I personally also like fresh cucumbers on the side. The light and refreshing cucumbers complements and balance this rich dish very, very nicely. Anyhow, thanks guys for tuning in today. I love your support and have you subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. I have new videos coming out every Friday. See you next time.